So similarly, you can use finviz.com to pull some of those scans. So once you go to finviz.com, you can see the summarized view of what's going on in the market. So you can see what the Dow did, what the Nasdaq did, what the S&P 500 did in the previous trading day. If I'm so today is actually Monday around early morning, but once the markets are open, you can see this live. Although there might be some delay, but you can see a snapshot of what's going on in the markets when it comes to the SPY, the Nasdaq, and the Dow. And you can also see a heat map of what's going on with the various sectors and see what are some top stocks. And you can see some stocks having major news, what's their percentage move, and you can see earnings updates, so on and so forth. You can see news here, and then you can see the signals here. So this is interesting. We talked a little bit about predefined scans with stock charts, but with finviz it's doing slightly differently. Here you can see on their homepage the stocks with the highest price gain today, the top gainers. The top losers would be just the opposite of that. You can see new high, the stocks making new 52 weeks high today. This is again came up as one of the predefined scan and stock charts. You can see new low, which would be the new 52 weeks low today. You can even see signals like upgrades, analyst upgrades, stocks downgraded by analysts today. You can see stocks with unusually high volume. You can see most active, most volatile. You can see insiders buying. You can see insiders selling a different stock. And we also talked about the RSI based alert with the stock charts predefined scan. So you can see something similar to that here with overbought, oversold, right? And you can also go down to see the trend line support. These are all based on the charting patterns. These are price based alerts and technical indicator based alerts. These are more sort of chart based alerts, right? So let's click one of these and let's get into their screener page. Now I have top gainers. Let's take off everything, and I'm going to click filters here, and I'm going to look at technicals, right? So once I click technicals, I can see, so the signal I have none, and once I click technical, and I'm going to be looking for those candlestick patterns. So once you hit the drop down here, you can see some of the patterns that we talked about earlier, or that we covered earlier in the course, like the doji, the dragonfly doji, the gravestone doji, the hammer, the inverted hammer, and so on. And you can also see spinning top white and spinning top black. Now this is something that I did not mention when talking about dojis earlier in the course. Essentially, these spinning tops are nothing but they have a small body relative to the shadows of the candle. So this also demonstrates some amount of indecision similar to a doji. So this is something that you can keep in mind, because again, a good rule of thumb here is the trading. So the next day's trading will probably move in the direction of the open price when you see the spinning tops as a signal. So this is something that you can keep in mind. But just as an example, you can click hammer and see the list of different stocks that have this pattern. So let's say I just want a chart so I can see list of stocks hitting the hammer, right? Let's see, let's just pull one. Let's just pull, let's say this chart. Great. So this is a hammer. Again, with hammer, if you went through the previous videos where I did talk about, what is key here is this has to be a green candle for you to go long. If the hammer has to be a bullish signal for you to go long, I would prefer that this signal was green. So after a downtrend, if this hammer is a green candle, I would be comfortable going long. Again, I'd have to add a bunch of other indicators like the ones that we covered, like RSI and even the T line. to see if that strength is bullish, if that strength is actually strong, if that hammer is bullish enough for me to go long. So I'd have to see that, right? So similarly, you can pull some other candlestick signals, the ones that we covered in the course, and see. So for example, doji, right? So you can pull the stock chart and see what's going on. So this is using finviz as a substitute to those predefined scans that we saw using stock charts. So similarly, you can also use barcharts.com. I haven't used this site much for the candlestick patterns, but for some momentum based trading strategies to see what the stock market is doing in terms of, what are the market movers, what are the price gainers, what are the price losers, what are the top 100 stocks, market momentum, market performance, percentage change, price change, range change, gap up, gap down, 5-day gainers, and things like that. You can use bar charts. This is also a great site to see stocks that have a very good momentum, but some of these are actually self-explanatory, right? So let's say stock market overview. I can see on at the end of day Friday, February 26th, what were the stock market leaders. I can see Tesla, I can see Apple, I can see Amazon, things like that. Let's see market momentum. Once you click that, you can see a whole different summary here for stocks with new highs and lows. Again, this is just another resource to use to pull the list of stocks that you may want to trade, or you may want to use to consider trading based on what patterns that these particular stocks exhibit. So today's new highs and lows, again, similar to what we saw with the previous scans. And what is good about bar charts again here is, right now this market is set to the US. I can do the same momentum based alerts and some of those momentum based strategies for the Canadian stock market, for the UK markets, for the Australian markets, and for the European markets. Again, I think with stock charts, with those predefined scans, you did see for some of those exchanges, including the Indian markets. Here, I think the extra was more sort of Australia and even Europe, I'd say. So again, bar chart is another resource that you can use. And I'd also like to spend some time with Stock Fetcher. I did talk about using this site when talking about the T-line trading strategy, but I can also use this for looking at some examples for pulling the candlestick signals that we talked about earlier. Again, if you go to the examples, this is great because this is going to list and pull stocks for each of those different screeners or filters or signals, if you will, right? So let's say, what do we cover here? Let's say doji. So if I click doji, it's going to show me a bunch of different stocks. Again, with the free version, it's going to show results from 1 day ago, but again, that is enough for our purposes, because all we are looking for is to see those stocks exhibiting that particular pattern. And then with a bunch of those indicators that we talked about in this course, we can see when would be a good time to get into the stock, when would be a good time to sell the stock, or when would be a good time to short the stock, if you will, right? So again, as you can see, you can leverage each of these websites that I talked about in this video and even in the previous video for identifying stocks that exhibit a specific candlestick pattern or even hitting a specific technical alert, so that you can trade some of those names. Now, with this, you will get a clear understanding of how you can use those resources